recording. Jason is here. I'm going to allow him to.
So we can see his face?
I don't know. Should we?
Yeah.
What do you want to do? Leave people in, maybe bring them in a little bit, or do you want to talk about what we got to talk about and then do a question session in a little bit?
Sure.
Jason, you can see us, right? And hear us and everything like that? You
Okay.
can't see us. So let me see here.
Well, you want to see Whitney's face, so let's get that fixed because he wants to see.
Maybe we should keep it only hearing.
Yeah, right.
People can't see my face. All right, so we'll just keep people muted. Then we'll do some questions towards the end. We'll let a couple people in here while we get set up. I'm going to share this to the Facey Bookie. I'm excited about tonight's topic because I don't think enough people take it seriously.
Me too. And what I'm excited about is I think that you and I, like, we really do, we have really similar feelings about this topic, but we have a little bit of differences in opinion on a little bit of it.
I don't think so. I just think it's wording and verbiage that
I agree.
And how we look at things is just verbiage.
I totally agree, but I'm trying to create controversy here, Whitney. Go play with me. No, but like, I think it's really, we have a little bit different perspective, I guess, is what I would say. You're right.
Sure.
Whitney. Yeah. And so I think it's going to be, I'm really excited to get people involved in the conversation and kind of see how everyone else feels about it too, because this is a really hot topic in the industry. I mean, you've seen it on message boards and in forums and in groups, and I have too. And it's probably one of the number one things that I get, brought up to me, and people go, well, wait a minute, I don't agree with your opinion on this. So I think it's a really awesome topic for us all to talk about and come together to really expand our perspective, which is really, that's what you and I are about with this, right? And the conversations that we wanted to have here when you and I talked about doing this was broadening perspectives and ideas and just giving everybody something a little different to chew on, right? So I think this is going to be a really cool one tonight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a huge one. I think that a lot more people need to take things seriously.
I agree.
Yep. What we're going to be talking about. And
Yep.
Let me adjust my mic. Might be a little loud. Right around there. All right, cool. All right, why don't you lead us into this one? I started us off last time. It's your turn.
Oh, okay. Well, not sure if there's like a proper format here or not, but Hey everyone. Whitney, I wanted to do this call with everybody tonight and kind of broach the topic and discuss your client and really who that is, what, Whitney and I both feel very strongly about who your client is. And I think a lot of us do, but I think that there is also some misconception out there as far as, I feel like when you ask that question, who's your client, there is ultimately one person signing the contract work authorization with you, right? There's one person responsible, honestly, at the end of the day to pay your bill. There's one person that's going to get a lien put on their property, if you will, if the bill's not paid. So that being said, however, there can be multiple clients, if you will, if you think of it from not a financial responsibility side, but from a marketing, reputation, and building your referral base, if you will, on a job. And so it's been, a lot of, some contractors restoration contractors feel really, really adamant about there is just this one client. And I don't really feel like that's the case when it comes to, like I said, the marketing side of things. Now, when it comes to the financial side of things, yes, there is one. And I think that you would be foolish in selling yourself really short and setting yourself up for a whole lot of nightmarish situations if you think otherwise. But, obviously we want to have this conversation with you guys. We want you to tell us what your thoughts and feelings are on this. As some of you may know, I come from the side of things. I mean, we did full-blown restoration back in the day, but now I come mostly from the side of things on a contents level, cat loss level. And, Whitney, I know you do like the full meal deal now, right now, right? Like, are you doing currently contents as well?
That is the one thing that we're not doing 100% of. We do a lot
Okay.
of in-house stuff as far as
Right.
on job site contents cleaning, but
Right.
we're subbing out portions of our contents from the drapes and blinds and things like
Right.
that. We're transitioning,
Gotcha.
building a rug plant. We're building a area to specifically do contents and make sure that we
Gotcha.
handle 100% of what we do. We definitely do all the build backs,
Mhm.
construction
Mhm.
stuff. Yeah,
And
so
you do all the mitigation and cat loss
turnkey.
work and all that. Yeah. Yeah.
Turnkey. Yeah, we're trying to
Yeah.
make it
Okay.
100% turnkey. The more we can do in house, the better over time. But obviously, that takes time to
Right.
develop.
Right. So, when we go out on a job, whatever it is, whether it's a mitigation, cat loss, you're doing contents, you're doing a, rebuild on structure, whatever that is, the person first and foremost that you need to think about as your client is the person signing your contract or work authorization, whatever you call it, with you, the person who is financially responsible, the person who owns the property. And that is not an insurance adjuster or an insurance agent. It's the property owner, whether it's the business owner, the homeowner, it's the property owner, the person that's signing with you, that is signing legal financial responsibility to pay your bill. That is first and foremost your client. So, it is, don't ever forget that. I think that sometimes that does get lost in the mix. And I think that I know on a content job, especially when you're dealing with someone's personal belongings, their memories, the things that make up their life, if you will, it it get you in a mess really, really fast. An adjuster can say, hey, this armoire is only valued at, I don't know, $1,000. And the homeowner says, oh no, that was my uncle's who died 5 years ago and he was my best friend and it's priceless. The adjuster says, nope, it gets destroyed, log it, it's out of here. And the homeowner's like, oh my gosh, no, I don't know what I'd do if I didn't have that in my life anymore. I need you to clean it. I need it restored, whatever that is. So when you're in a situation like that, the client is your client who has the final say. Now, obviously, if an adjuster says, hey, it's $1,000 armoire, we're going to pay $1,000 for it. If it costs $2,000 to restore it, that's on them. Well, obviously, we have a conversation with your client, but you really need to get very clear that the person who is the owner of the contents or the owner of the property, they are first and foremost your client. And I think, Whitney, you and I are completely on the same page with that, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, the only person that I technically work for, and this is kind of where we may get into the verbiage um,
Yes. Yes.
disagreements is, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty hard set on it personally.
Mm-hmm.
The only people that I personally work for are my customers and my clients. I use it as a marketing tactic as well as being a fact of the day. That's just mainly because I
Mm-hmm.
truly think that I'm doing the customer a disservice if anywhere in my mindset or my customer or my employees' mindsets, if they think that they're not working for the client or if they think that they have any fiduciary responsibility to the
Mm-hmm.
carrier. While at the
Right.
same time, understanding from a contractor's perspective and a restoration company,
Mm-hmm.
um, also that we have to have a marketing relationship. We have to not piss off carriers. We have to keep the adjusters happy, make sure that the work gets done, and also that the customer understands what they're supposed to be paying for. And I think one of the big things that we can do
Mm-hmm.
to help insurance carriers out is help the insured understand what it is that you know they're responsible for paying for, as well as
Mm-hmm.
whether it be based off of lack of coverage or based on lack of having insurance at all. Um,
Right.
it
Right.
gets down to the idea that people have to be under the understanding, and this is where working for my customers is what I do for them. Is
Mm-hmm.
I don't think about it as insurance. First and foremost, you have an issue. This is what the issue is. This is what it's going to take to get it taken care of. Now, secondarily, do we have insurance? Let's work with the insurance adjuster. Let's work with the insurance agents. Let's work with anybody who's involved in the situation.
Mm-hmm.
secondary adjusters or engineers or whatever, making sure that I am the eyes and ears for you, representing you in this situation to make sure that you know what's coming down the tunnel, you know what
Mhm.
to expect, you know what
Mhm.
processes are going to happen, you know the possibilities and outcomes of what could happen of these engineer reports and so on.
Right.
Because regardless of coverage, giving them an understanding that hard in 4 days when you get a call back from your insurance carrier on Monday after the engineer came out on Thursday, there's a possibility that they could sit here and say that this is pre-existing conditions because of the fact of rot or something like that in the wood and it was a slow leak.
Right.
These are the things that you can't do too much about as a contractor, but at the same time, if you give them the understanding this could happen,
Mhm.
okay, they get notified of that. Well, what happens if that happens? Well, unfortunately, most likely you're going to have to pay for it. We're going to have to go down the road. My suggestion to most people, and the reason why, here's this is another discussion for us to have,
Mhm.
a whole nother talk. But one of the main reasons why I structure it this way is because of the fact that I want people and I try to educate people all the time in the importance of understanding what an incurred cost is and how an incurred cost is covered under your policy. And this is a nationwide thing. How an incurred cost is covered under your policy versus an estimated cost. Value to, like you're saying, contents.
Right.
Is that drying or not drying, throwing away or replacing, so on and so forth. If you, if they basically get it done, there's a certain in between area there.
Well, and
Well,
I think one of the things that to be sure that we're really bringing out here in this conversation is that there are more than one person that you serve though on a loss, and I guess that's maybe, Whitney, where the verbiage that I'm looking for is we do serve more than one person or entity or one relationship, maybe you
yeah,
could say.
there are many material interested parties.
Exactly. I
Um,
mean, so we
and
want to serve multiple people on a claim. However, ultimately, obviously, the person who's signing with us is our client. And sometimes that can be a very tricky balance. I know one of my recent Ask Annissa questions that I had come up was, this guy's like, look, I've got this adjuster wants me to do one thing and the homeowner's like, nope, that's not acceptable, this is what I want to do, and they're both within the parameters of what is okay in the guidelines of restoring on this particular set of contents. So he's like, what do I do? Well, that's a very tricky situation, and then you can get into this too with structure, I'm sure,
Mhm.
Whitney, where it's in the guidelines of IICRC, or what is what we need to do to be proper, responsible restorers and do things the right way. And yet, the homeowner, the client, the person that signed our contract with us, wants this done this way, and the adjuster's like, nope, it's this way. There's a balancing act that we can get in the middle of, which be very careful, because that can be a very slippery slope. But I also think that it behooves us, if you will. I don't want to use the word responsibility, but it definitely behooves us and serves all entities involved if we can balance that and get both parties what they want while we know we did the job correctly, right?
Correct.
So, yeah,
100%.
yeah,
The idea is to make sure that you represent your customer in the best way 100% possible,
yes,
having them understand what they're
mm-hmm,
going through
yep,
and know what they could possibly receive as an outcome from the insurance carrier,
right,
know what they're responsible for financially to you as a
mm-hmm,
as a contractor for doing the work properly, then hence not changing your scope of work and
right,
dictating scope of work. And this is where the downside of this goes to is I think that there's a lot of people, personally, this is my opinion, I think that there are people in our industry that try to build such strong relationships with the insurance carriers or the adjusters that they're willing to sacrifice and or undermine, more importantly, the
mm-hmm,
restoration process and the standards that are put in place, as well as the best interest, what's the best interest for the industry as a whole. And all of this is in order to make sure that the margins are kept, usually. Has
mm-hmm,
nothing to do with money, because at the end of the day, you and I know all and well that essentially everyone's making a good quantity of money
Yes.
the restoration
Yeah.
process. And until you get
Right.
into the construction aspect of things, um,
Right.
then that's the only place where it gets a little bit tighter. In
Mhm.
restoration, remediation, whether it be water, fire, mold, contents, I mean,
Good profit margins. Yeah.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
all good. They're all
Yeah.
great. In
Yep.
in retrospect to the majority of industries out there that are available to us as entrepreneurs, I think that it's probably one of the best. I mean, granted, we get paid good for our time, we get paid good for our assets, and we get a
Mhm.
decent amount of money for the materials that we bring in. Plus, we get
Right.
compensated for any administrative costs that we have, as well
Mhm.
as any subcontractors that we use. So,
Right.
we have to weigh and balance our fights, and we need to make sure that we don't cut corners on jobs in order to make sure that we keep relationships with vendors or to stay on vendor programs. We need to make sure that we look out for the
Right.
best contract or of our clients.
Client.
Our
Yep.
clients here are not are not the insurance carriers, they are
Right.
the homeowners. And
Right.
yes, there's the idea behind keeping a good relationship
Mhm.
behind your the representatives that you work for, you hope that you do business with, and the people who
Mhm.
work or give you a lot of leads, or your salespeople might have worked his butt off in order to, get far as far as
Mhm.
relationships. But at the end of the day, that's what separates us as restorers and just contractors. Because not even,
Right.
I don't even put it that way. Because as a
Yeah.
contractor in the state of Florida, we go through a lot to become contractors, and I don't think that it's necessarily fair to even say that. I want
Right.
to say handyman or trunk slammers. We'll just use the term trunk slammers
Trunk
because
slammers. Yeah. Yeah.
it's called. Anybody can go buy some equipment, throw it in a job site, but doing things right is
Mhm.
the next level, and
Right.
that's where caring about the customer is very, very important, and that's where it
Yeah.
fits in more so than anything. It's
Right.
quality of product that your customer is paying for, because like we talked about right in the beginning of this, is at the end of the day, what the
Yep.
insurance company doesn't pay, the homeowner does. And the tighter their budget may have been, the harder it is for them to pay that difference at the end. So
Right.
it's important for us to work with the insurance company to get them reimbursed for everything
Mhm.
that
Yep.
they're covered for. And that's where it's extremely important to keep things on the up and up. And we have to
Mhm.
separate ourselves, and we have to set ourselves to a better standard. We
Whitney, what you just said is really important, I think, too. When you use that terminology, because I've heard some contractors, restoration contractors, go in and make comments like, yeah, well, no issue. Like, we'll do this, we'll do what needs to be done, we'll bill your insurance company. We bill the insurance company as a courtesy to our client. And yes, we definitely do fight for them to legally get the compensation that they have coming. Absolutely. I know you've probably been there. I've been there. I went toe to toe with ITEL pricing and like, no, 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 no. This is not, this carpet is this much a yard. This is not, off the floor Home Depot stuff. And I fought for my client. However, right?
you have
However, you do. And I don't absolutely,
That doesn't mean
but
that there's a compromise.
no, but
You just bring
ultimately,
everything to the table and don't
right,
slack in any area, because if you slack in those areas, they're still going to beat you up, and you're still going to just do yourself that much of a disservice. So
right. But
where
if you come into a job and you say, hey, look, I'm going to get you, I don't know, $58 a yard carpet is what you have, and I'm going to get this insurance company to pay for it. Don't worry about it. You really shouldn't be saying those kind of things, because the bottom line is you can fight for your client, you can propose it to them, yes. But if an insurance company refuses to pay something, refuses to pay your mitigation bill, or refuses to pay your content cleaning bill, the homeowner is responsible. So it is a courtesy to our homeowner that, yes, we fight for, we take seriously as our job responsibility. But when it comes down to the money's due, we are looking for a check and payment from the homeowner. So sometimes I think that gets stated in a really bad way and is very misleading to homeowners, that some, as you would call them, trunk slammers, just want someone to sign the job, right? They just want to get the job signed. Let's just get locked in. Like, let's get them hooked, let's set the hook. And saying things like that is no bueno. You can't do that. At least in my book, I would never say those kind of things. We do bill as a courtesy. However, we do fight for our client. And an adjuster is in that mix, if you will. However, yes, I mean,
billing as a courtesy is not working with the insurance carrier as the sense that I look at it with an assignment of benefits.
Right.
I don't even think it's essentially that the assignment of benefits guarantees you pushed into that little group of people either. I think if properly, it can be a good thing.
You're good.
But the moral of the story, I think, that we both agree on is the customers have to be able to understand and trust in us as professionals to do the job right 100% of the time and not put our relationships with these individuals in the forefront. And it's very important as restorers that we do so. Basically, the only thing that we can do to separate, that's really what separates us, is because you're going to bill the same amount as I'm going to bill.
Right.
We may settle out on a little bit of a different number. Who's a better negotiator? Who knows? Who cares?
Right.
But I think both of us will be happy on the number we settle with. Most people need to just realize that it's not a fight.
Well, and that's an interesting thing you just said, Whitney. I know that, and there'll be, I'm sure, and I'd love to hear anyone's opinion. Obviously, this is a two-way conversation that you and I think are having here, right? The purpose of that.
I'm going to open it up here in a minute for people to start.
Yeah.
I think we can open it up now if anybody wants to go ahead and raise your hand.
Okay. But I think something that's really, I guess where I get apprehensive, if you will, when I hear this topic come up is when I hear those, oh yeah, well, I'm just for the homeowner. And I mean, maybe this is strong language, I don't know, but screw the adjuster, or, they don't like it, they can go jump in the lake and I'm just going to put my foot down. And you know what? Having that kind of us versus them mentality, I don't know. This is just my opinion, but I think that's ridiculous. And you're setting yourself up, you're setting your homeowner up. And I think when you have that kind of mentality, Whitney, in the industry, I think you give us all a bad rap when you do that, right?
Yeah. I mean, you can't just be screw the adjuster. This is
no.
on our team. The only way that you're really going to say screw the other guy on a baseball team is if he hits you in the face with a baseball or.
Okay, well, that's different.
But at the same time, that's the only way you're ever really going to look across to the other team and be like, screw that guy.
Yeah.
Think of even rival teams in professional sports. These guys go out at the end of the game and they give each other like high fives, hugs. They talk.
And shake hands, yeah.
Hey, buddy, we went to school together. We're buddies. It is what it is.
Exactly.
In this industry, we all travel around. Restoration contractors become adjusters. Some adjusters are adjusters without experience. Some are with experience. Just like there's good franchise companies of certain colors that are good, and there's ones that are bad. Certain ones have better and worse, what do you want to call it, as far as like reputations than others because of the majority of some versus the few. But there's always good people, and that's what we want to focus on through the organization, especially through a lot of what we're trying to teach here. At least what I'm trying to give out with this message is just making sure that people do things properly. As far as the standard of what we do as individuals, pretend like you're a doctor, put on your doctor suit, and go out there and prescribe courses of action for homes, not houses. You're not going to kill anybody, hopefully. God forbid. Jeez. If you do things right, the likelihood of you killing somebody is a lot less too. So that's a good thing. It's so hard to look at myself without a beard.
I know. I just gotta tell you, Whitney, it's like I'm listening to you and I'm like, I know this is Whitney, but it's definitely different. So I gotta tell you,
doing this.
I gotta tell you this though. When you said that, we don't go out there and we're saving homes and we're not like gonna kill anybody. And this might sound like very, fluffy woohoo or whatever to some people, but we do go out there and affect lives in a huge way. And sometimes our clients, I know I've been on so many losses where I've dealt with people's contents in a tragic situation and they literally be like, you saved my life,
What's the last
so
thing you can take away from somebody before they completely lose themselves?
hope.
Well, they're home.
Oh, and they're home. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, if
Well,
you're
so
home, the only thing you got left is hope. So
okay, exactly. So what do we give them? Like when their home is black from a fire or the roof is ripped off from hurricane,
you have to
I'm a
retain
Gene.
their hope. You have to make
Yeah.
sure that they have hope.
Yes.
They can have
Yes.
that home back, because I've
You're right.
done work in Section 8 houses where people, even though they were paying with government checks and whatever,
Right.
this is where them and their family lived, and this was the
Yep.
lifestyle they lived, which
Yeah.
some may judge. But at the end of the day, that's not my job. My job is
No.
to make sure that this family gets back in their house, and however we got to make sure that we can make it work, whether it's
Yeah.
cleaning up the concrete floors for them to put concrete, put stuff down later when they can afford it. It is
Right.
what it is in some
Right.
circumstances. You can't
Right.
necessarily always build it back and make it pretty, but
Right.
you can make it clean, you can make it
Yep.
sanitary, and you can try to save as much of their personal belongings as
Yep.
possible through the process. And that's, another discussion. I think next week we should,
Yes.
I
I
think
do
next
too.
it's going to be, are you a restoration contractor? Or are you a demolition contractor?
Yeah.
Restore, demolish. And don't get me wrong, I love me some demolition. It's the best thing in the world. But I see people all the time, and granted, there's a reason to do flood cuts, which I hate flood cuts personally. As a contractor, I look at them as a waste of
Right.
energy. Just rip out the whole sheet, take it all out. It's one trip to this. Save
Right.
save the world, people. Save the world. Do you know how much fossil fuels are emitted on those second trips that somebody has to take, taking that second 2 feet of drywall to the dump? Just take out the other 2 feet.
Right.
God, like that just bugs me. Personal thing. But at the end of the day, making sure that people understand these steps.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
are you a restorer? Are you a demolition contractor, people? That is what we're going to talk about next week. But I
Yeah.
want to open this up, Jason.
Yeah.
Mike, you guys have any questions? I know we're going to be doing a bunch of these different episodes. I think tonight's was short, but very, very important. I don't think that we need to talk about this too much and more in depth. I don't think that we need to beat it over people's heads. I just think that moving forward with this idea of are you a restorer, I think that's maybe what our series will be. Maybe that's what we should call it. Are you a restorer? Question mark.
Yeah. I'm glad you actually said that because I thought maybe Whitney, and again, I didn't pre-discuss this with you, so hopefully this is cool and I'm just being authentic here and live.
Yeah.
We should maybe put that out. Like, Whitney and I were trying to think of what we wanted to call these episodes besides just, episode. And we just kind of wanted to maybe, I don't know, maybe we should put up for some input and see what, others think. And, just thought that might be a little interesting. I want to be sure and say before we end up tonight that, I really, it'd be very interesting to hear feedback from anybody that's watching the video and what your thoughts are. Like maybe comment below the video and tell us who do you think the client is on a job or clients, if you feel there's more than one, and why. I think that's kind of an interesting maybe question to hear everybody's perspective and whether or not you agree with me when I say, I think you have multiple clients on a job. I definitely am absolutely, Whitney and I totally are eye to eye on this. I completely agree with you that ultimately the client is your client, the property owner is your client who's paying your bill and responsible to, and you should definitely be serving them. But I do believe strongly that there are multiple clients on a job that you serve. I believe you serve the agent, whoever sold the insurance policy to that homeowner. Just a thought. I know there's some of you that'll completely disagree with me on that, but just kind of think about it for a second. You could serve them, if you will. Okay.
There's ways you can make sure that you look out for their best interest in the process, but
yes, and in doing so, Whitney,
because
right,
this is where we are, and this is where I'll kind of
right.
I'll be the devil's advocate on this.
Okay. Okay.
Right
okay.
When it comes to the agent itself,
Right.
did they sell a policy just to sell a policy? 9
Ab-
times out of 10,
mhm.
10 times out of 10, 1 time out of
Mhm.
10? I mean, you
Mhm.
tell me, maybe people can give us an opinion on here. I'd really love to
Yeah.
hear people's opinions on this.
Mhm.
Because obviously these are just our opinions. My personal opinion is different a little bit than Anessa's. And I definitely want to make sure that you guys leave us feedback.
Mhm.
Was it something you think we missed in this discussion either? You know, did we
Yes.
completely miss the whole idea of who the client is? Like, are we not working for the right? Do I have no idea who I'm working for? I mean, else that we're working for? Do we work for ourselves? You know,
Right.
obviously, if you're an employee, you work for your boss. So you don't work
Right.
for the client. He doesn't write your checks. That I can understand. That's an argument that we can have. But at the end of the day, as an employee, I think that you should make sure that the people you're looking out for, the best interest is the homeowner.
Mhm.
If you
Mhm.
want a restorer,
I
because a
agree with
restorer
you.
is not just an owner of a business. A restorer is everybody that is part of this industry, and
Yep.
hopefully the owner can just put this mentality out there within his business and put this philosophy out there, and
Mhm.
what would be a culture, if you will, within his
Yes.
company to make sure that people are pushing themselves as restorers. And by this, we don't have a Bible. We have some standards that are essentially minimum guidelines that give
Minimum.
excuses and reasoning
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
information to back up and educational knowledge that has been gained by other people in order to make
Mhm.
sure we can process a job the right way. And
Right.
then if you've gone to classes that allow you to expand from
Mhm.
knowledge that is given in these books, by all means, use them as a baseline. Adapt your processes in order to make
Mhm.
sure that they're more efficient. This isn't a end
Mhm.
all be all. These books are not end all be all books by any means.
Right.
You have to make sure that you are always becoming a better restorer, because once you get your triple master certification through the IICRC, what are you going to stop and just become a consultant? Um, that is another episode that we got
Yeah,
to
that's another episode we should do for sure.
like. Are
Uh,
you just becoming a consultant because you're
right.
bored? Are you becoming a consultant, or did you just see on QVC last week that they were selling consultant hats for 99 cents? So
Right.
everyone's a consultant now.
Right.
Um,
Or a guru. There's the guru. Don't forget that.
the gurus, the
That's like,
consultants, the
mm,
mentors, the
uh-huh.
people who
Right.
want money for whatever they do. It's like
Right.
literally, oh
So
man,
I really am excited to hear what you guys all think about who your client is. If you feel that there are multiple clients on a job, and if you think that Whitney is just spot on, or if Anissa's crazy and gets a little too, out there, but would love to hear your experiences with that and why you feel that,
yeah,
whatever that is for you. And definitely, I don't know. I think it's a good idea. I think we should just put it out there, Whitney, and I think we should get help from the
man.
group to name the episodes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so three things. Let's I guess we're getting right around 9:45. We started about 5 minutes late, but that's
Yeah.
cool.
Okay.
Business is what it is. So let's do this for next week. I want to
Okay.
give you guys some homework. Let's see if we can get some people involved and some
Yeah.
people doing this. First and foremost, make sure that you go to Anessa's page and follow and like everything that she's doing. Make sure you like all of her videos. Stay on top of everything that she's doing.
Hmm.
You know, I'm here too. Um,
Yeah. Right.
Just kidding. You guys, if you feel like following me, you guys can feel free to follow me. There's numerous places where I'm sure my face is up. I'm not too hard to find. I'm pretty vocal, so it
Well,
is what
now
it
your face might be hard to
is.
find now, Whitney
Oh
dear.
yeah,
You
I'm just
definitely
trying
look different.
to
Okay.
incognito. This is my twin brother. I just want to introduce everybody to my twin brother, Whit.
Okay. Well, Whitney, Mitt, you might want to repost a new Facebook profile picture because we're all not going to know who you are.
No, I'm gonna grow my beard back out. This is just shaved. Starting fresh. It's my little thing. Every once in a
Yeah.
while, I basically just want to start everything fresh and hit the reset button, if you will. So I'll shave my head, get my haircut low, whatever I'm doing. I just go back to the old me, the way I used to be as a little baby boy. As you can see, look, I'm 14.
Yeah,
So,
right.
I can't wait for my stubble to come back in. It'll take about, next thing tomorrow morning. You'll see me tomorrow, and I'll have a full blown beard again. That's just the way that it happens. So
Oh, okay. Okay.
hair, hair is definitely in my genes, but You guys, please here's your homework for tonight.
Hmm.
Leave your comments and questions and concerns based off of what we're talking about, whether you think we're spot on, we're way off, which one of us you think maybe is in the right place, whether you think we're saying the same thing, but just saying it in different ways. Just
Right.
go ahead, comment. We just want to see your comments more so
Right.
than it.
Right.
Secondarily, make sure that you give us some ideas on future videos. We have a list of things that we think would be interested for you guys to hear, but if you make a list of things that you think will be interesting for us to talk about in regards to our industry, maybe we can match them up to our list and make those cool charts that we had when we were kids, and we'll put things in an order of importance, and we'll get those out to you as soon as possible. Maybe focus on some certain things, since we are only doing 6 this first series, and then the second series we are going to do another 6, and so on and so forth, as long as you guys love us and keep coming back for more. So uh, the last and final thing that I want everybody to do is, tomorrow when you go see your customers, please make sure that you take care of them and that you look out for their best interest, regardless of your relationships and how important they are. Because although they may be important, the most important thing is your customer. And even if the importance scale is right there, and your agent is right here, and your adjuster's right here, and everybody's right here, I don't care where they lie. The
Yeah.
second it goes like this, I'm gonna smack you. Just keep it right. Keep yourself in check. Just remember who's number one.
Yeah.
That's all that matters. So that's the moral of the story. Make sure that you're not one of those people, the trunk slammers, as we'll call them. We got to make some
Mhm.
shirts that basically say, "I'm not a trunk
I know,
slammer,"
right?
and
Which,
like,
by the way, do you see my shirt? I don't know. Can you like? Can you?
I love it.
I have to mention my shirt. Can you like see it?
Yeah, disaster diva. I think it's great, but the problem
Yeah.
is I'm not allowed in the group because I'm not a diva. So
Oh well, and I apologize for
can I
all
get
you
an
men.
honorary, like, be the only guy?
Well, maybe if you wear like a pink diva hat and a
My
pink diva
name is Whitney. I
shirt.
think if I take my picture off, no one will even know the difference.
This is true. This is true. But I'm sorry, it is a women's only club. But I just
Oh,
really wanted to give a shout out. Hopefully, a lot of our divas are watching tonight, and
no,
I
we
just
want
really,
more of your divas to get involved in what we're doing, and we think that
that's
there are
right.
huge importance to what we're doing with this
There
movement.
are some amazing women, Whitney,
Yes.
in that group. And so I was sporting my new shirt that, thank you, Julie, for mailing it to me today. I got it just in time for the show. But yeah, I think that there'll be some really cool divas joining us. So yeah, I had to mention my shirt. So.
And then one thing that I'm going to do as just
Mhm.
got to do it, because we're doing the new charity that we
Yeah.
announced to the organization, and we
Oh
want to make
yeah.
people aware of what it is. Healthy Homes for Heroes. We're
Mhm.
working on the finalization of the incorporations and all that other stuff, setting it up as its own charity, but it's going to be the charity for our organization. Um, our events are going to basically all go through this one uh, charity, if you will, through
Nice.
our organization, the nonprofit. Needless to
Hmm.
say, if you are interested in becoming a part of more than just a free Facebook group, and aren't maybe necessarily ready to jump in and be completely committed to a paid member of the organization, I can ask you this: please, please, please get in touch with myself for right now, as well as a couple of the other individuals who will be running this organization and this charity with me. Let us know who you are and what areas you service, and who else might be interested in your area that does what we do, that might be related, whether it be Home Depots or Menards or shopping areas, whoever can give supplies, different
Hmm.
electricians, plumbers, different people in your regions. Start working on working out relationships with these individuals so that we can have a solid network and really, really start pushing this and start affecting individuals on
Hmm.
a hopefully monthly, if not weekly basis here in the next couple years. My
Hmm.
goal for this next year is to at least do something starting in 2000, and we'll see how many we can do before the end of the year, but starting in 2019 next, will be next.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I
Um,
know.
2019, we're going to try to do a minimum of one per month. Starting in 2020, I would like to get that to one every other week. And then from there, I'd like to at least figure it out to whereas we could keep that going and maybe have that schedule in multiple different locations and have multiple different people being affected. Because I can guarantee you there are people whose homes have been affected by fire, water damage, mold issues, related issues, that don't have the money, don't have the insurance, regardless of whether it may be situational,
Right.
whatever. They got
Doesn't
the
matter. Yeah.
claim based off of something and they had insurance, but they weren't covered for a certain type of work, whatever the case may be. We want to make sure that these individuals who essentially give us the ability to wear shirts with palm trees and shave our faces whenever we want, the right to do so, we want to make sure that we give back. Personally, was not in the military. If you were, thank you for your service. But moving forward, we just want to be able to affect those, and it's not just military; it's also first responders, firemen, and the police officers. Obviously, there's a lot of things that these guys go through on a daily basis that we don't want to talk about or deal with individually, but they do. So, we want to give back to these people. I just want to say thank you, everybody who has possibly tuned in. Didn't have too many questions, but maybe next time.
That's right.
But next time, once again, thank you, Annissa, for joining me tonight, discussing who is the client. I think that this will be a good episode 2. Once we put it up on the internet, we'll see how many views we get. If you are not following this video series, please make sure you follow both of our sites. So we'll say this. I guess we got to do this right on the video. If you want to follow Annissa, do here. If you want to follow me, do here. If you want to follow do there. And you guys appreciate what we're doing, because we definitely appreciate what you guys are doing to help the industry get to a better place. Thank you again, Annissa, for starting off tonight. And next week, we are going to be talking about, are you a demolition contractor or a restoration contractor, regardless of the restorer title. So that'll start getting your thinking caps on next Tuesday at 9:00 p.m. Eastern time. We will get into it. Hope to see you all there. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. Take care. Have a good night.
More beer. Later.